Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners. Anybody here can get it. You tuned into the realest now. Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners. Anybody here can get it. You tuned into the realest now.
Hey team, right, we're here off the platform, episode 4. It's your usual suspects, myself and Greg Turrell. How are you, Greg?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, great, thank you. I'm trying to get into the Movember, but I've ended up with the whole beard, so I think I've stuffed it up. But
yeah, it's meant to be under the lip, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Details. Yeah, I'll take what I can get.
Looks like Joe's got it going on, though.
Joe's, yeah, that's magnificent.
Yeah.
So we've got from Ashburton, we have Steve Lousich. I'm saying that right, am I, Steve?
Good evening. Yes, thank you. That's pretty good.
Perfect. And we also have Joseph Whittaker.
Yes, Steve. How are you?
How we doing? All right? How you feeling after the weekend?
Yeah, pretty good, actually. Had a couple of days rest, and I'll be back in the gym tomorrow. So.
Nice. What's first on the menu? Arms?
Oh, bodybuilding.
Good. Good man. Good man. Right, so we were going to treat this as a bit of coverage of Steve and Joe's powerlifting careers, and also a bit of a debrief of the WP Nationals that was held on the weekend. Looked like some big lifting from the lads and the girls.
Yep.
But yeah, Steve, we were just talking. When did you start powerlifting?
Yes, so my first competition was actually way back in the dark ages of 1982.
Did they have weights back then?
They did. It was actually the Bay of Plenty powerlifting champs. So my first few competitions were actually in that area.
Did you live up there at that stage?
Yes, I was living in Whakatane for, I was at school, in fact. And I sort of started working in, was called Woolworths Variety in those days. I don't know what it's called now. I think it's about 6 name changes. And living in a Hopi Beach. So it was quite nice. And it was one of the, believe it or not, one of the school electives was powerlifting.
Yeah. Wow, is that right?
Yeah, very unusual.
Wow. Where's that gone? We need to bring that back.
It'd be nice to see that sort of thing around these days, but yeah. So I got into it from that, did a few comps, and then I had quite a bit of a break due to sort of career stuff, moving around and that, and ended up in Wellington. Tried to find a bit of lifting around there. There wasn't much in Wellington those days, and so went up to Auckland. Which is around the 1991 he talked about earlier.
Nice.
Did my first Auckland champs in 91 and my first nationals in 91. And I pretty much have done every nationals since 91 up until...
Yeah, I had a look today. I had a look at this today, Stephen. I realised the comps from the 80s are not listed in open powerlifting, but definitely the ones from 91. And I looked at all the years, and I noticed that except for 93, you've competed every single year since 91 according to Open Powerlifting. But as you say, you started in 82.
Yes.
What happened in 93? Took a year off, eh?
No, I competed. I don't know why there's no record of it there. I'd have to go. I've actually kept a record of my competitions, and I'd have to go and do some research as to what happened. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. In fact, I'm pretty sure that was Rotorua.
Oh, okay.
They might just not have set the open.
The Nationals was in Rotorua because guys like Derek and, I can't remember his name, the big fella, Colin Cox, who's now no longer with us.
Oh, the late Colin Cox, yeah.
Yeah, was lifting back then. In fact, we lifted at the Stratford Lodge in Hawke's Bay in Hastings.
Oh, wow.
There you go, right? Open powerlifting, take notes.
No. Anyway, wherever it was. Pretty much been in every contest since then. I've done, did my first Oceanias in 92. In Melbourne and got a silver, and then I did my first Worlds in 97 in Prague, and I did 6 Open Worlds up into 2003, and I did take a break from international lifting in 2004 and then came back in 2005 and did my first Masters bench in Zlin, which is also the Czech Republic, and got a bronze.
Nice.
And then I've more or less tried to go to every Masters Worlds or World Masters bench since then. In fact, my last international comp was in Canada last year, where I got a gold for my weight class and a bronze overall for the Open.
Very nice.
So, yeah, good collection of medals. And
Very decorated career.
So you've tend to, Steve, I noticed you tend to hover around the 120 kilo mark. That seems to be your weight that you're most comfortable with, the weight class that you're comfortable with.
Yes, yeah. I'd actually like to get down a bit lower, but that's what you want and what you do is two different things.
Don't we all?
I've lifted, basically at the Worlds I lifted in 100, and I've been sort of slowly progressing, and my strength's been going up along with it. But that's I'm 55 this year, so that's having a toll. Just getting old. In addition, stop laughing, Joe. In addition to that. I've also been a referee since '94. I did my provincial, and up until 2017, 2018, I was a Category 1 international referee for IPF. So now we have a different system under World Powerlifting, which is just similar sort of type thing. We call them level 1 referees, level 2 referees. I was also on the IPF technical committee for about 10 years. The anti-doping committee, and also the appeals committee for a while. So obviously, once I left that, recently I've been made the anti-doping chairman for the World Powerlifting organisation. So I'm managing the RTP plan now. So yes, there's always something to do.
Always busy. Always busy.
So Steve, we didn't mention so you're currently the president of World Powerlifting New Zealand, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the treasurer for the Oceanic Powerlifting
Oceania. Yep. So I actually formed the Oceania Federation in 2000, and pretty much I've been the treasurer ever since then. So every time we have a meeting, no one wants to take the job on, so I just get given it back.
You're putting your hand up.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to; you just get drafted.
Yeah.
So I've been on the board of Oceania for many years. I'm a director of worldpowerlifting.com, which nice. If you want to go into that, I can tell you is going very well. We've got probably around 30 nations signed up.
Is that World Powerlifting International?
Yes,
cool.
World Powerlifting International.
Very nice.
Some are quite big organisations, such as the US affiliate, which has got about 3,000 lifters. Some are quite small and only have a handful, such as countries like Cameroon and Mongolia, Sri Lanka, and so forth. So
cool.
So where does that? What's the affiliation globally then, Steve? Like, what sort of federations globally does WP align itself with?
So we have we don't have sort of like regions as such. We do have, although we do have the Oceania region. So there's a number of nations in the Oceania. And then we have America, Canada. I could actually send you a list of them all. Nigeria, Italy, Greece, Ireland. I can't remember the rest.
Yeah, so nationals was last week, and where does that lead to? Is that like a qualifier for the world champs?
So the next competition for us is the Oceania Champs. That's in end of January. Which is going to be in Auckland, in the same place the Nationals were at the.
Nice.
What's it called? The Alexandra Raceway.
Alexandra Park, yeah.
Yeah, in Epsom, and then we are looking to have the Oceanias in Northland, aren't we, Joe, for the end of next year, which he's just found out about right now.
There you go.
You got plenty of time to organise, mate.
There you go. That's an off the platform exclusive there.
There you go.
We'll wing it, but we'll be all right.
Yeah, the reason we're having 2 Oceanias in 1 year is because the Oceanias next month is actually from this year.
This year. When was it supposed to be?
It was going to be in Cambridge originally, but COVID sort of screwed everything up, so we had to move it
push
to
it back.
A little more accessible place and move it around here.
Yeah, nice.
And then we have another competition coming up so we're sort of looking at a competition in Melbourne around July next year, which will be a sort of a Grand Prix type competition where lots of people can go to from wherever they want. It's all going to depend on travel. And we're trying to get competition in Las Vegas early 2022 with our new affiliate over there. So there will be plenty of competitions coming up, not to mention all the local stuff. The nationals will be in central districts next year. Regional contests, local contests for Africa, wherever you go.
Very full calendar. It's good. It's good. Lots of powerlifting.
Yeah.
So, Steve, obviously you've been involved for a long time now. How have you? What got you into the sport in the first place? You know, would you play in the typical New Zealand game? Were you playing rugby as a kid, or did you go straight to the gym and thought,
No, you're right. I did play rugby. I was I actually did 3 games of schoolboy rugby internationally in Australia, and yeah, I was enjoying it. And then, as I say, a teacher came along and asked me about powerlifting one day, and I said, "Oh yeah, give it a go." So, and then I found I was actually not bad at it.
So I find that really fascinating that powerlifting was a curriculum subject, or
an elective, crazy.
It seemed a bit more interesting than chess.
I mean, if I was at school and I could get credits or something for lifting some weights, you'd be in there, wouldn't you? Surely.
I would have passed school C.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. I think we were talking about it before, but just so we have it on record, how many comps did you say you've done, Steve?
Around 175.
175 powerlifting meets under the belt.
Ish, yeah.
So what's your secret? What's your secret, Steve? Because obviously, you know, powerlifting can exact a pretty heavy toll on people. How have you managed to compete pretty much non-stop since '82?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of it's to do with just consistency. In other words, and not sort of thrashing your body too much. I've seen a lot of guys come and go, and at least they can lift massive weights, but also they exact massive injuries in the process. So I sort of take a conservative approach long term. I use supportive gear when I'm training, as opposed to, not in the contest. So I wear knee wraps, keep my knees okay. Just as I say, there's really no secret to it. Be sensible.
When I first started powerlifting, Steve, in 2011, I remember you were at my second competition. There was you, Keith Old, and I think Steve Varga. I think it was South Islands. Were you lifting single ply back then?
Was it an equipped one, was it?
Yeah, I think it was equipped. Well, I mean, that was when they didn't have raw. They didn't have the separation. But, did you lift single ply, or did you lift raw back then? Did you ever lift single ply? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to lift equipped. I think it was around that time when they started to look at raw became more and more sort of fashionable, or what do you want to call it?
Yeah.
So more and more people did it. But I still enjoy using the gear, as in the supportive gear, knee wraps and things like that. I did my last World Masters in 2017 equipped.
Yep.
In Sweden.
Yep.
And it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Do you think more people could benefit from giving equipped a chance? Because as you say, raw's trendy nowadays, but do you think people could benefit from having a bash in the gear?
I think it's something that everyone should try at least once, or possibly twice, just to get sort of the feel for the difference. It is a totally different way of lifting. Different way of lifting. For example, using a what they call a blast shirt or a bench shirt is very, very different. There's literally an art in using one.
Yeah, I've tried it. It's not comfortable. It's not pretty. But
you can get some really good results out of it. My best bench ever is 260 and a half in a bench shirt.
Nice.
Back in 2009.
And so just to give some sort of perspective, what's your best raw bench? Not that it's directly transferable, but what's...
About 215, I think, from memory.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. That's still, that's a decent carryover still, but it's not as crazy as some people get. Do you remember? Yeah. I remember a guy down here, Andrew Thomas. I actually went to school with him.
Yeah, I know Thomas. Andrew.
But he was getting 100 kilos out of his bench shirt.
It does depend on the individual and their biometrics.
Yeah.
So if you've got quite short arms like I have and so forth, then yes, the stroke movement's much smaller and you can bench more. Yeah. Overseas, you see, especially in the Japanese and so forth, they get massive jumps out of their shirts and things.
Yeah. What do you think that is? Just they're more technical, or just better leverages for the shirts.
Technical and mostly leverages. Yeah. Good arches, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, they get some ridiculous arches, eh? Those
Steve,
guys.
Steve, do you think the shirts are getting, like, is the technology behind the shirts improving year on year and therefore potentially swaying some of the results, or are the shirts what they are? You know, they've been the same they've been since the 80s.
No, they're very different now. When I first started using, the very first one was called a blast shirt, and believe it or not, the person who fitted it onto me was Kathy Millen. You might know that name.
Yeah.
No, Kathy.
So she was selling them at that stage, and then they sort of started, what's the word I'm thinking of? The quality of them started cranking up, amping up to, they had a high performance shirt, then they had an extra high performance, and then they had a super duper high performance, and then they invented the, in around 2003, they brought out the Fury, and one called an F6, I think it was called.
Yeah, the F6. Yeah, that's like a beginner shirt now.
I started with an F6. Yep.
And then the Katana and the Super Katanas came out, and so I actually tried on a shirt at the World Champs because I had nothing to lose to the thing. So I borrowed one off another lifter and 227.5 bench in it, which was about 20 k's more I'd done before. So I was definitely sold on them. And then I got the Super Katana, and yeah, they just kept going up. So, but they've changed them slightly. There's one with a latex back on it just to make it easier to put on. Yeah. But beyond that, I haven't really seen. And obviously I just haven't really done the study, but I haven't seen any other advancement on them other than having more layers. You know, single ply, triple ply, denim ply,
multiply and open back now.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've never used those, so I couldn't tell you what they like to use.
I started on an F6 and then went to a Katana, and then the Super Cat, and then the Super Cat came out with a reinforced collar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're modifying.
Yeah, and that was what, 10 years ago. Yeah, and I got nearly 100 kilos out of my shirt too, so it was maybe 80 kilos. I was towards the end there was 260, 250, 260.
Don't tell people that, Greg. Pretend that you're that strong.
I should. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Stop telling people that.
Those days are long gone. But you know, it just goes to show how powerful those shirts can be. But it was all it was technique. Definitely a lot of technique going on there as well. And I found the training quite difficult, Steve. I don't know how you managed. Were you training by yourself with equipment? I mean, when I was doing it, was a group of people around us, and you know, it would take 2 or 3 guys just to get some of these comp shirts on.
No, I was quite lucky that I trained in at a gym in Newmarket called Gillies Ave, which is actually the home of the New Zealand Powerlifting Academy now. And we had a good group of guys, and there was never, you know, a shortage of people to give you a hand. And of course, we were all using them, so we all became expert in putting shirts on. And I was funny because I was watching Joe put a shirt on a guy on the weekend, and it brought back some horrible memories. Having his hands up someone's pants and so forth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
You got to do what you got to do.
You do, indeed. Yeah.
But I think wrists, broken fingernails. Yeah.
I think there's still a place for them. As I said, I'd be happy to give it another go. But the unfortunate is that, like, globally, there's been a general sort of decline in the use of equipment, and I think, you know, a lot of people have decided it's a bit too hard to put the gear on, and it's a bit too dear and all that sort of stuff. So the raw phenomenon took off pretty well, which is probably cost driven.
Yeah, it's sort of another barrier to entry, I suppose, isn't it? You know, if you've you have to have almost, you know, 3 or 4 people to train with, and you've got to spend $500 on a shirt or whatever, and then once you break it in and it's lost then you got to buy a new one, and then. So it's sort of lost its mojo a wee bit, but it's still.
Most people will have 3 or 4 shirts.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
at any one time, because you have a training one, a competition one, and so forth, and you might have 2 or 3 suits, and you might have 3 or 4 sets of wraps, and you might have, all of a sudden you've got a couple of grand's worth of gear sitting there.
Yeah, and you can't use it unless you've got 4 people to train with. You know,
exactly. Yeah,
I think,
Joe, have you tried equipment?
Yeah, I sort of used a fair bit of it, sort of my early days of lifting, just to, I guess you say, acclimatise the body to moving weight. Um, and when I used them, I think my best raw squat at the time was about 320, and I just used some reps and I squatted 360. So, they had no idea how to put them on. To be fair, I just wrapped them around really tight and tied a knot in the end and gave it a bit of a nudge. To be fair, and so I got 40
That's
kilos.
pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much, yeah. So I got 40 kilos out of a set of 2 meter reps. I've used the bench shirt. I actually borrowed one off Stan Hornwell. I don't know if you know Stan. He just passed away. Well, was it Steve last week?
From Northland, yeah.
So he just passed away. So I had a few shirts and some gear borrowed off him just to have a bit of a play. I got to 280 and I was still about 4 inches off my chest, and 300 just kind of freaked the shit out of me. So I just, I never really tried it ever again, because I knew the next time I have a crack in it, it's, I'm going to have to be swinging around the 300 kilo mark, and that's in my hands just kind of freaked the shit out of me. So
holding it over your face.
Pretty much, man. And I just, did not bother. So, but that's about my extent of powerlifting with single ply. I might give it a go 1 year just to see exactly what I can get out of it. I've got some squat suits and stuff from Ruben Samanu. He sent me up a whole bunch of stuff. So I've got a big bag full of gear. But
is Ruben? He's not competing anymore. I have not seen his name in the traps for a while.
No, he hasn't been competing for a little bit. So he's him and his wife are now a pastor of their church down where they are in Whakatane. And he, sort of that's life for them now. He still does the odd little bit of coaching and stuff here and there, but not huge amount these days. Yeah, and he's lost about 45, 50 kilos. So.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's a big dude, man. He's a big guy.
Yeah, I met him. I met him maybe 10 years ago. He came to a comp up here in Whangaparaoa, and he was training my coach at the time. So it was like a version of a Shaco type program. I can't remember what he called it, but it was a version of that. But he walked in through the door, and he's as tall as he is wide, So he kind of came in a little bit sideways. And he did an exhibition lift for us. It was about 350 or something like that. We had we had a piece of carpet on the floor, and it was just a squat rack, and we had about 25 guys around us because everyone was too scared about him dropping that weight. But it was impressive to see. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's probably the thickest human I've met. Just size-wise through the chest to the back. He's just massive.
I remember when I did, I think it was 2013 Nationals IPF. It was down here over at CSPC, and he was competing. And I saw him take his shirt off to then put another one on or to have it off for deadlifts or whatever. And I was just looking, and his lats literally hung out like past his butt. I was like, what is that muscle? That's ridiculous. And I was like 105, I thought I was jacked. And then I look at this guy and I was like, that is the biggest human I've ever seen. Just
I thought jacked. The same thing when I first met him.
Yeah. Big dude.
So Steve, do you think there's people who could benefit from training equipped in terms of their raw lifts as well? Do you think there's some carryover there?
Yeah, one of the things I noticed once I stopped using bench shirts is that your triceps actually aren't as strong, because when you use a bench shirt, the shirt will get you off the chest, if you like, and then your triceps have got to take over and drive it out. So all of a sudden your triceps are capable of pushing 230, 240, 250 weight. But if you don't keep practicing literally those big amounts of weight, then you don't. I still train with what do you call them, a slingshot or a ram?
Yeah.
And I can still push up about 230 if I on a one of those. And I think that's not necessarily a shirt, but certainly something like that, just to give you the tricep strength.
I was going to say the slingshot I would almost liken to a pair of knee wraps on the squat, if you know what I mean. It's more of an elastic than the bench shirt's sort of it's a different feeling, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
But as a poor man's bench shirt, it gives you the ability to train your triceps heavier.
Yeah, definitely. It's saves some people's shoulders as well. Like some lifters I've had, you know, they can't handle a lot of benching volume because they've got rubber shoulders. So while we're fixing them, you know, you can get them to do like a top set of bench, and then they do all their volume in the slingshot, which saves their shoulders on the chest. So they can still get in 5 or 6 sets of bench without wrecking their shoulders.
Yeah.
It's quite handy for that.
Yeah. So Steve, over the years, you've obviously been involved in powerlifting for a few decades now. Do you think the sport is any more or any less popular than it was in the 90s or in the 80s? Or in the early
When I first started back then, I remember the New Zealand Federation didn't officially begin until 1985. That's when it was first incorporated, and I think the first membership tally was about 80 lifters, and it took 10 years to get to like 150, and then probably another 10 years to get to maybe 250, and then all of a sudden it jumped like you wouldn't believe in the last 10 years, and we can only put it down to CrossFit.
Yep, 100%.
People leaving CrossFit and people leaving Olympic weightlifting, and a few other bits and pieces. So when I left in 2018, I think we had 600 plus members. So, and I'd never, and it was becoming, you know, a massive organisation to manage, as you can imagine. So as a sport for popularity, yes, it's massive, and especially for women. We used to have very few women. Now it's 30-40% of the members are women.
Yeah.
And that goes for WP as well as the NZP.
Yeah, I was going to say, for you guys, for WP, how many members would you guys have at the moment if it's not, you know,
just shy of 200.
Just shy of 200. So, I mean, including, say, all 4 feds at the moment, you know, there's probably...
1,000.
Part of 1,000 lifters in New Zealand. There's part of registered 1,000 lifters. Yeah. Which is a big step up from, like, say, 80.
I mean, do you guys, you know, Joe and Steve, do you see powerlifting reaching, like, you know, double, not tripling, even like 10 times that figure? Like, what would it take to get powerlifting to, say, 15 to 20,000 people across the country?
Yeah, the drawback, not the drawback, the hold, if you like, is there are more. I'm trying to think of the word, fashionable sports to do. So we used to find in the good old days that especially juniors would want to do things like BMX, for example, or, you know, to get into rugby, cricket, football, hockey. There was a lot of sort of sports that, of course, these are the ones that the schools were driving. Swimming, you know, things like that. So powerlifting probably wasn't on the agenda as a first choice of sport, and what happened is often it would drift into it, you know, or someone would mention to them, or whatever the case may be. So they would do something for a while, play rugby for a while, like I did. You know, I did 3 years of playing rugby, and then I thought, oh, what else is there I can do? Now, because I'm 3'2", I was never going to be a basketball player or anything, any sort of use in any other sport. So that's why powerlifting suits me so much. So a lot of people find that if they're not good at some of those sports that are more popular, if you like, or more fashionable, that's when they start looking around for sports like powerlifting, and Olympic weightlifting is another option, of course.
Now, I noticed, Steve, you've got experience in over a dozen countries. I lost count after a while, but at least a dozen countries. From your point of view, and I guess Jackson and our experience with GPC is that powerlifting in Europe especially is massive. It's almost like a religion.
Off the chain, I love it.
Yeah. Has that been your experience as well with the European countries?
Yeah, it is massive over there. And of course it is the IPF stronghold when it comes to lifting. When I've competed in Europe, and you find a lot of competitions are in Europe because that's where the numbers seem to be. They're always very big contests. You would see 1,000 lifters turn up.
Yeah.
For competition.
Yep.
Especially recently. What am I thinking now? And then the equip would come along, and you might see 100 lifters turn up to it.
Yeah.
So, but certainly, And I think that's the Eastern Bloc countries also have large numbers, as well as Germany and those sort of places.
What do you think the appeal is? What's culturally going on in these countries that powerlifting is such an appealing sport for them?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really sure why it's so popular. I think it's just because there are a lot more people there. It just seems to be a lot more lifters. So we, for example, have China on our books now as a nation. My video's dying. Can you still hear me all right?
Yeah, audio's fine, mate. Carry on.
Yeah. And there are something like 3,000 Chinese lifters.
Wow.
Straight off the bat.
So because there's so many, billion of people there. So, and proportionally, like New Zealand and Australia do very well overseas, because even though we don't have lots of lifters as they do, we seem to have more quality of lifters. So we do well internationally. But yeah, to be honest, the reason why there's so many European lifters, I think it's just a numbers game, really.
Yeah.
They almost look at it differently over there, I think. Here, it's not treated as a proper sport, like you were saying. Whereas over there, I mean, if you're a powerlifter, it's cool. Or a weightlifter, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I think in Russia, like, it's you can be a professional powerlifter. They'll literally pay you to do it. Here,
yes.
I mean, you get nothing. Like, powerlifting is, unless you're doing like the big sort of 7 sports, like rugby, netball, athletics, swimming, cricket, you won't even get a sniff. Whereas over there, they treat it as an actual sport.
Yeah, and if you look at strongman's massive overseas as well.
Yeah.
You don't see strongman. You do see strongman events in New Zealand, but certainly not. It's almost like powerlifting. You just don't see them publicised as much.
Yeah, it's definitely a fringe sport.
It is. Yeah. I mean, New Zealand, we really have rugby, cricket, netball. That's our sports over here.
Yeah.
That's what we're known for, if you like.
Yeah, sure.
It's interesting because I had a conversation with Nick Patterson a wee while ago, who's the head of drug-free sport, and he said that they were having to focus more and more on the Olympic sports because there was so much riding on us doing well in them at the Olympics.
Yeah, the Commonwealth and Olympic sports are, I suppose, what drives the funding and stuff here, isn't it? So
it is, and people, when we go to the Olympics, people expect us, and rowing, of course, rowing's a big one, sailing, those sort of things. People expect us to do well at them and produce medals, and if we don't, Sports New Zealand is frowned upon doing their job.
Yeah, so powerlifting sort of falls by the wayside, I suppose.
Yeah.
As unfortunate as it is for all of us, but it's just lifting weights at the end of the day, isn't it, really?
It is. And when I was president of the NZPF, we were trying to we did manage to get funding from the government for years and years and years, but it became more and more of a battle, and there was more and more demand, and eventually got to the point where it's just not worth it in the end, because the cost of getting the money was equivalent to the money you got, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we just didn't bother anymore. But yeah, I mean, it shows you what powerlifting did get some attention, because we were doing well overseas, because we had good membership numbers. Medals were coming home from worlds, records were being broken. They liked that, but then they changed their emphasis, and Sports New Zealand goes through this sort of philosophy where they decide to go from numbers to community-based stuff, or something like that, some sort of change. So they don't. So what was popular last year is they don't want to know anymore now.
Yeah.
Right. Not to leave you out in the cold there, Joe. I thought we'd quickly switch to you and get your.
You've got 2 minutes, Joe, and then we have to go.
Steve's used up all the quota.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I did warn you.
That's fine. That's bloody old.
Joe, you're mid-30s now. It looks like you've been lifting, if I'm reading correctly, from Open since you're mid-20s, or does it go back further than that?
No. To be quite fair, I never stepped foot in the gym till the end of 2012. Never really thought. Well, I couldn't see myself going to a gym just to go to a gym. To be fair, I just thought it's a waste of time. Yeah, so but I had a few injuries from rugby and stuff like that. Like I've torn my right calf 6 times. It's not pretty. It's bloody sore as anything. So I sort of originally went to the gym just to lose some weight and just sort of start just doing
Stuff
something
that up.
different. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then so for me, I just to be quite fair, like I started because I seen a poster.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell powerlifting was. Had no idea. I sort of Googled, web searched who was the powerlifting coach in Whangarei here, and I got Chris Blair.
Oh, Chris. Yep.
Yeah, he was the only one that popped up, to be fair, and I, sort of into 2012, I had a few training sessions with him, and it was pretty much hooked from the get-go, really.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it looks like you entered your first comp in 2013, the Northland Powerlifting Champs.
No, 13 would be, so 9th of March, I done my first comp. That was at Brian Froggett's gym.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I squatted off the top of my head 225. I benched 150 and I pulled 250. So I think I totaled like 625.
Good. Not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, I think I was about 117, 118 body weight at the time.
Yep.
Something like that. And and by the end of that year, I think I ended up totaling 740.
Nice.
So 115 kilos added in less than 12 months, which was
not bad progress.
Yeah, pretty good, really.
Only it carried on like that, eh?
Oh, it'd be wonderful if it carried on.
100 kilos a year?
Yeah, it's sort of carried on like that, to be fair, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of years of adding, sub of 100 kilos most years.
Yeah. That was big. What did you top out at? You 965, wasn't it? 965 and a half.
Yeah, 9655. Yeah, so that was 2017.
Nice.
And that was at 136 body weight, so 136 flat.
Yep.
I believe that was the Fitness Expo in Auckland.
New Zealand record breakers, eh?
Yeah, record breakers. There you go. Yeah, that's the one.
And you came in your heaviest. Oh no, not quite your heaviest day. You came in at 136 kilos according to this. Yeah.
Yeah, 136 on the dot.
How tall are you, Joe? You're like 5'2" or something, or?
Oh, I'd like to say 5'2". No, I think I'm about 5'10".
5'10". Okay.
That's a big dude.
Not really. Not if you look at Ruben
if you're
Shimano.
comparing yourself to Ruben, I suppose, but to most people.
Yeah, I'm a normal sized human next to Ruben.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're about 5'10". Yeah, currently sitting at about 128. Well, that's what I was at Nationals anyway, 128.6. So, yeah, and then sort of after that big comp, there was an opportunity to have a run at Worlds over in Canada 2018 in the 120 class. A few of the big lifters moved out, and I thought, shit, let's have a nudge at this and see if we can drop some weight. So I dropped 15 kilos in 7 weeks, and it all turned to shit, and I bombed. Yeah, so it's what it is. Yeah, learning experience and all the rest of it.
You looks like you tried 315 three times, eh?
Yeah, and
on the squat.
I believe 2 weeks before I left, I squatted 355 in the gym. So,
oh no!
So 315.
Bad day at the office.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It was the first time I bombed, and unfortunately, it was at Worlds, but you learn.
Live and learn. What do you put that down to, man? Was that just the weight cut, or is it the whole? I mean, Canada's a big distance,
Yeah, well, the distance and stuff seemed to be right. But I just put it down to the weight cut, losing the weight way too quickly. And my whole biomechanics and my movements just changed. Everything just changed.
Yeah.
Your belt don't fit you properly. Your flipping knee sleeves don't. It just probably a number of things that didn't help. But at the end of the day, I just wasn't strong enough to move the weight. So is what it is, really.
Yeah. Yeah. But it looks like you came back a couple of months later, and it smashed out 355.
Yeah, so I put a bit more body weight back on, and I believe it was Nationals 2018, August up here in Whangarei. Before, well, I guess that was the meeting we all done the split one at Steve. Yeah, but I think I totaled 900 flat that year.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit later. I don't worry about that. It's just me dog grilling my sister. Yeah, we're 900 flat, I believe, 2018, and just sort of stayed in the supers for another few years, but never really got back to my best And yeah, currently on my way, chopping back down to the 120s. So, but I've done that over the last year, and I think I'm down about 14 kilos or so.
Very nice. Since you're working with Thomas Lilley, yeah?
Yeah. I've been with Tom just over a year, or pretty much just a year now, I believe. November.
Diet and training.
Yeah, so he does all my nutrition and all my training. So
very nice.
But yeah, before that I was all self-coached.
Yeah.
With everything. So done everything myself. So
just get out to the bar and
how do you find that, Joe? How do you find that, Joe, going from being your own boss when it comes to working out your program and nutrition to I guess you're following what Thomas says to the letter, eh?
Yeah, pretty much, man. To be quite fair, I think I was due for a change. I was so hard on myself, and I'd sort of beat my head against the wall a little bit, being self-coached and all the rest of it. And me and Tom talked all the time anyway, when it come to sort of lifting and programming and this, that, and the other. So when I decided to get a coach, it was a pretty easy decision. I just went straight to Tom, and following just having something set to be able to just go to the gym, go and hit my prescribed numbers or my prescribed RPE and stuff like that. It's been good. And, I didn't compete for the year, so I just trained with him for the year. And I just started enjoying lifting again, to be quite fair. I sort of, got to the point where, why the hell am I doing this? And, I've had enough and all the rest of it. But, no, it's been good. He brought the love back for powerlifting for me, and just enjoying it again. It's been it's been wonderful over the last year.
I suppose that's the thing. You just get to go in and just lift the weight now. You don't really have to think about it. You're like, right, that's what I've got to do today.
Yeah,
that's it. Just lift the weight. Do it as best you can.
Exactly. And it's been great. Like I tell him to piss off every week with all the assistance he gives me, because I'm so sore.
That's classic Thomas. Yeah.
He sends me tempo work and stuff like that, and I said, I pretty much squat tempo speed anyway, so it didn't really change. Everything was pretty normal for tempo. He's like, why should tempo look so good? I'm like, well, I squat slow anyway.
Yeah,
so
you take your time going down, and
and it kind of pissed them off, so he just made my tempos longer.
5 seconds down, 3 seconds in the hole.
Pretty much, it's pretty close to that. I think we got to about 3, and 3 or something stupid. But I hit the hole and stand up quickly. That's sort of how I've always squatted. So physically having to slow yourself down for 3 seconds on the way up is just. It's just hard.
It's tough, man. It's good.
Yeah.
It's great positioning wise, though, because then you can figure out where the weak links are. If you're slightly unsteady at a certain part of the movement.
Definitely.
I definitely think it's good. I do it a lot on. I don't know if Thomas has had you do them, but on squats is great, or Romanians as well for deadlifting, just because you can iron out all the little kinks. Same thing on bench.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. He's kind of throwing the book at me, to be fair, over the last year, and I just keep coming out swinging at him. So
nice. He'll love it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah.
I did the same thing with Thomas. I think from what he said, I was his first online client.
Yeah.
Up until then, he'd just coached people in person, but that was back in.
I think 2012. I think he said 12, 13 or something.
No, we worked together in 2015.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because that was when I first swapped to GPC. Because I took 2014 off because I was just sick of rubbish, and with what happened in 2013. So I just took the year off, and then again I got in touch with him and then brought the love back to the sport and said it was nice to. I know what you mean. Just go into the gym. This is what you're hitting.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. Just lift it.
Exactly. Do your program, carry on home. So I'd go from a 3-hour squat session to about an hour and a half. Saved me an hour and a half. Yeah.
So what's the plan, Joe? Like, what's the is the 5-year plan? Is the 10-year plan? And you operate your you got your own operation, your gym up in.
No, it's so I help set it all up. I don't own that one.
Oh, you don't own? Okay.
So it's actually my little cousin. So I helped organise and get it all set up for him, and he brought me out of HSB, my own little place that I had. So he brought me up, so there wasn't another strength gym up here. So he's like, well, I'm going to buy you out. So he pretty much brought all my equipment and everything. And we've just pretty much just finished building Health Strength Performance, so HSP, funnily enough.
Mm.
You know, we're sort of catering to, like sort of the top end lifters or people that coach. Like, you know, as a coach, you don't want to train at the gym you coach at generally. You know, so we're sort of looking for the people that they just want to be at the gym and actually want to just go in and do the work and carry on, you know, so real like-minded people and stuff like that. So that's been up and running probably about close to a month now. We're still pretty quiet on members and stuff, but it's a hell of a spot, so you know, it'll be pretty cool.
What's the powerlifting scene up in Whangarei or the far north in general? Is it growing? Or was it remaining?
WP seems to be growing a little bit up this way, but once the split from Northland Powerlifting happened, the NZPF side of things, I don't know, it just got real salty, to be fair, and I've just sort of distanced myself from it. You know,
I feel like that was right across the country. But,
definitely, man. You know, so you know, I sort of distanced myself from it and just train. Just train, man. Yeah. Exactly, you know, and invite people in to come and have a turn. And most of the people that seem to come in, most of them seem to compete now. So, you know, that's been quite nice too. To help other people out and, you know, show them a new sport. Yeah.
Lifting's lifting, isn't it?
It's pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, you need to lift it correctly. You don't go.
Of course.
Don't be silly with it. You know, so it's been quite nice. You know, because I'm, you know, with my coaching and stuff, I'm form based with most of my stuff. You know, like all my lifters and stuff that lifted over the weekend, technically wise, they moved real well. You know, so for me as a coach, I'm pretty happy with stuff like that.
Let's talk about the weekend. So, you know, Steve, Joe, how did it all go? Like from your perspective, from start
Alexandra
to finish?
Park, very nice venue.
Alexandra Park, 3 days, wasn't it? 3 days?
No, Saturday,
2 days.
So 2 days. Yep.
Three sessions, was it? 3 sessions over 2 days.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it went well. Very, very, very happy with the quality of the contest, the venue, caliber of lifting.
Some great lifting.
It went. I mean, you know, couldn't really fault. Just be good to see a few more numbers there, but unfortunately, we had to move the contest because of the lockdown in Auckland. I think that unfortunately put a few people out, and also there was a few injuries. We lost a few people due to injury.
That's always the way.
It is, and unfortunately it was it. But no, everybody said they had a great time. Which is, to be honest, that's what we want.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. How many lifters did you end up with?
I think we had 65.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's still a nice number for a meet, you know.
Yeah, we had around over 100 last year down in Canterbury, so it was a big drop, but you know, it went on time, and we finished up and we had a few hours break before we went and had a few cold ones, which is good.
Yeah,
nice. It's always a good way to finish the weekend.
I think, I mean, COVID's taken a real toll on powerlifting in the countries, at least that I'm in touch with as well. I mean, we've been pretty fortunate in that we got off pretty lightly, but, you know, I'm talking to powerlifting friends in the UK. You know, they're going into another lockdown now. The gyms are shut. You know, parts of Australia, gyms are on the verge of closing, if not already. So, you know, they're really struggling in some states. And I think we got off pretty lightly, but it's definitely taken its toll. So, you know, well done for managing, you know, even 60 or 65 off lifters in times like this is still a great achievement.
Yeah, we're pretty happy. With the Oceanias coming up next year, we would obviously want to see, you know, upwards of 100 from New Zealand. Depending on what happens with the borders, we've got 60 from Australia ready to come, you know.
Yeah, cool.
We've got guys from Nauru, we've got guys from Niue, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Islands, all those countries that want to come. But the problem will be, they don't want to pay for a very expensive hotel bill. That's the trouble.
$3,000 for an isolation bill. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's just going to kill it. We do have an interesting strategy. If we can't, it looks like we're not going to be able to run it with people in the country. We're going to run something we've never tried before, which is a simulcast competition.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've heard about this concept.
Yeah, so everyone will more or less lift at the same time on the same day, and you'll actually wait until your counterpart in the opposite country does his lift before you do yours.
Oh.
Right. So you still have some sort of flight order going on.
Yes. So
Okay.
it would be as if they're in the same room.
Yeah.
The rules will apply the same way. So it will mean a slightly slower contest, but we believe the lag will be 5 seconds between attempts, if you like.
That's not bad.
No,
Is it almost a similar concept to what I'm sure all of us experience after a comp when you put your lifts on social media and you got all these armchair refs who give their critique of how accurate the riffing was. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Soft
Too
knee.
right.
I couldn't possibly comment because I didn't referee.
So how would that work with the different? How many countries would you run that in? Because with the different time zones, will someone not end up lifting at like some ungodly hour?
Well, because it's only in Oceanias, it should only be maybe 2 or 3 hours.
That's true.
So
Very
it shouldn't
nice.
be too bad. If we had Europe involved, then yes, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
But it is, it's the second plan B is if we can't do that or something doesn't work, then we will run the competition and then just compare results, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And do the results. And we did that recently with a couple of competitions we ran in Auckland, Christchurch, and Melbourne and Brisbane all simultaneously on the same day, and we compared results. So that went well as well. But we would really like to add that realism to the event by having the whole thing live, and you would have the people lifting on screens around you and stuff like that. So it should be very interesting to see how it works.
That'll be it's a cool concept. That would be I mean, that would almost bring a different level to it. I see cycling has done something similar. I don't know if you've seen it, but they've done virtual racing since no one's been able to travel. But obviously, cycling's got a lot more cash than powerlifting. But they've actually set it up and they've done exactly what we're saying. But they set up their watt bikes basically in front of their TV, and they're almost riding the track, and it puts the ghosts of the other riders on the track, and so very similar.
Sure, that's pretty cool.
I think the Formula One guys did something similar, right? Where they were racing.
They did something similar, like a sort of a Gran Turismo, and then you just have to have a fast enough internet connection, and it puts the ghosts of the other cars on your screen.
Look, with COVID not set to go away in the near future, we've got to almost innovate, don't we? So
But got to make do.
Got to make it happen.
100%.
Yeah.
And people want to lift internationally, so we're just trying to find a way to make it happen for them.
Yeah.
And
they
also,
want the competition.
Yeah, and keep it affordable at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
We were lucky enough over the weekend too. So with the lack of international meets and stuff like that, they actually allowed international records and stuff to be broken, which definitely put a bit of another spin on national. So a lot of the lifters were pretty happy that there was a chance to attempt an international record or a world record and stuff like that.
Yeah, to get world records.
So that was pretty cool as well.
Did you come away with any, Joe?
Nah, shit, no. I was flipping way light, mate.
Was it did Stan get was Stan's deadlift?
I believe
his
deadlift was a world record. 364.
800 pound deadlift.
Yeah, just over 800 pounds. Big, it's a big deadlift. It was stupid. Didn't he miss it on his second?
Yes.
By miles. I think
he didn't even get it close.
He didn't get to his knees.
Yeah.
Nah. And then come back and flip and smoked it on the third.
Crazy. Remind you of someone, Greg? That was I did the exact same thing at our nationals. Missed it on my first and then got it on my second. But
surge of adrenaline.
Yeah, you have to sometimes. So so you won best overall, Joe?
Yeah. So I took it best overall. So me in second place, we totaled the same, but I was about, I think James was about 143 or 145 body weight, and I was cruising down at 128.6.
Right, so you went on.
Yeah. So me and Dino just played the game, and we just matched them.
That's what you do.
I definitely had another. He came up to me just before the last pull, and he put in the cards, and he said, "What do you got?" And I said, "I probably got 340 today. 340 should move pretty well." And I only had to pull 326, so that makes
Yeah.
my life a bit easier.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, just play the numbers game.
Yeah.
Did you have the bigger deadlift out of the two of you?
Yeah.
So you got to have the last say.
Yeah, I had the last say. So I think
Nice.
Dean put in a placeholder at about 335, which forced him to have to pull more than he's ever pulled in. Hey, I give him credit. He pulled the weight.
Gave it a bash, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He pulled it, got whites, and I had to pull a little bit more. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah, cool.
That was good.
I saw you guys had championship rings as the
Yeah,
overalls.
they're pretty cool. Yeah, I'll go grab it. Hang on, man.
Pretty
I'll just
sick,
grab it
yeah.
out of my drawer.
Give us a look. Give us a look.
Yeah, they're quite cool. A bit of a signet ring. Yeah, so I was, my lifter Riri, I was lucky enough. She won best overall female. So of course she wasn't at the banquet. So I was being a smart ass with both rings. As you do, but.
So she did some massive lifting as
Yeah,
well. I think
huge
598
numbers,
total.
eh?
So we got the little box that come in. And
Nice.
then,
Nice touch. Oh, that's impressive.
yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something a little bit different. I've never won a ring before.
There you go.
And last year I won a bar too, so that was pretty cool as well in Shanghai.
Nice.
That was the overall prize. They sent you a brand new Semtex stainless bar. It was with
Oh,
your name on it.
beautiful.
There you go.
So, pretty
Cool.
crazy. But
So the rings were your idea, Steve, or one of the teams?
No, it was that was Dom, the organizer, come up with that idea. He rang me and asked me about it, and I said, "Yeah, bloody good idea. I couldn't see any problem with that." So I think that we'll probably see more of that in the Oceanas, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, people love it because you can, it's something different. It's not like a trophy you have to carry around.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's,
You see it.
yeah,
a bit,
no, I
you see
like
it. You see a bit of that in bodybuilding, don't you? You've seen bodybuilding events where they give away bloody swords.
Yeah.
Like Conan. Yeah, these
Yeah.
massive swords.
I don't think we'll be doing swords anytime soon.
No, don't do swords.
Yeah.
No, not if it's a close competition.
Dom's a big fan of NBA, so
yeah, so it's like the NBA rings.
I kind of think it sort
yeah.
of comes through from there. He's definitely a big fan of NBA and stuff like that. So that's
You
what I
might
think
get your
he,
singlet next time with
maybe.
Whittaker across the back.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
That'd be all right.
Yeah,
Put
I'll
that
just have
idea
to
in.
win the comp.
Yeah. Yeah. Just make sure you win
Yeah,
before you put your order in.
Yeah.
When you
but that was
turn
cool.
when you turn 50, Joe, we'll give you a gold one instead of a silver one.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
What was that, sorry?
So when you turn 50, we'll give you a gold one instead of a silver one.
No, I'll take white gold.
You'll have to take a leaf out of Steve's book for longevity. You have to start.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, no, nothing wrong with longevity in the sport. I'm
I think-
lucky enough to not be injured enough to keep me off the platform anyway. So over the last 8 years,
I always say that to
8, 9
people.
years.
The powerlifting is just a game of who can do the boring stuff the longest without getting injured. That's
100%.
right. Sit there and do those squats and don't do anything stupid. Most people will do something stupid within about 3 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm going to max out tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. See? Someone always, it's a hard one. It's boring. It's not a spectator sport. You get better at it by doing boring stuff.
Yeah.
Eat the food, lift the weight, but it's why we all love it.
Take us through, Joe. You mentioned you're the overall female. Sorry, I missed the name. What was the name?
Oh, Lydia.
Lydia.
We just call her Queenie.
Queenie.
So I squeezed every kilo out of her that day. To be fair, I think everything was running probably RPE 10 on almost every lift. So she's come away with a 228 squat, bench 119, broke the world record deadlift on her second pull at 243, and then done a little bit of quick math with her numbers and stuff, and the number she needed to pull to make the world record total was 251. And I sort of just grabbed the back of her belt, leant into her ear, and I just said, "This is for all the chips," This is what this is what we've trained for. I said, I said, give it all you've got. I said, don't stop, and we'll just see what the hell happens. She had no idea what the number was.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, she just went for it.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, she just went for it, and well, shit. Added 10 kilos to her last pull she done in flipping. Whenever North Islands was, I believe that was like August, September. So we got 10 kilos.
July or August,
yeah. So I managed to squeeze another 10 kilos out of her, and I think
Nice.
she added about 28 kilos to her total or something.
Huge.
Wow.
Acid,
What's the background there? So Queenie trains in your gym where you train?
No. So she's remotely coached. So she lives in Kapiti.
Oh,
down in Wellington there. Yeah, so she trains out of, I think it's
is it
Oh,
318?
Fitness, out of Clive Medley's
318.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she trains out of there. But she just had one of them perfect days. We all get one of those perfect meets, and she went 9 from 9 and just smoked everything she previously had done. Yeah.
Every kilo. That was cool.
Yeah. The goal was to have a crack at the world record squat. The world record squat for her class sits at 233. But after a second, I just made the call. I didn't think she had 233 in her that day.
Fair enough. I mean, you saved it for the deadlift. You know, if she'd taken it, she might have missed it and then cost her the deadlift.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you built the total.
Yeah, exactly. Build the total, build the confidence with every single lift that she done, and she just had a cracker of a day.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it takes a bit of experience and a bit of nous to make those calls.
Yeah.
You know, especially on the squat and stuff, because you know it's going to impact the rest of the day.
Yeah, definitely does. Yeah.
So good call. It was just great lifting. I saw the video. She was So in world powerlifting, just for the technicality things, so you can make any jump in 1 kilo increments.
Anything.
Cool.
That 1 kilo is huge. And it's for women. It's a wonderful thing for women. You know, like for a woman to add 2.5 kilos to, say, for her bench, like that's huge.
Yep.
You know, they stand there at the gym and they look at 2 plates. You know, they got 2 1.25 kilo plates in their hands, thinking, "Shit, that's a lot of weight." You give them a little 0.5 kilo plate, they don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, but that 1 kilo jumps bloody awesome, and I really love it, especially for the females that I coach and stuff like that. It's just a good thing.
Yeah, cool. So that's it's just a wee bit of a difference, but that's cool. So it gives you a bit of a edge competitively as well, because you can sort of edge out the extra kilo as such to fight for the podium. Yeah,
definitely. You can also you can make a temp change on any lift.
On any lift?
Yep, on any lift, and then you get 2. Is it 2 on the deadlift, Steve? I believe it's 2 on the deadlift. But yeah, any lift you can make 1 attempt change. So say you put in, for yourself, if you went 355 and then you're like, oh shit, I don't got that in me, you can pull it back to, you can just pull it back. So
So, but then on the deadlift, you can make 2 attempt changes only on the 3rd, or
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Cool.
You
So
can't go backwards, can you? You can't go. I missed 350. I'll give 340 a step. Yeah.
Yeah. No. You can't do that. You can't do that.
No, fair enough.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of cool. So then you can actually the game, because most of the time people just play that game on deadlifts, but you can actually play the game on
for the whole
squats
day.
And bench as well. That's I'd love that actually. That's good.
It makes it interesting for sure.
Yeah.
And the rationale behind it was actually because people, and especially world champs, are competing for individuals in every lift.
Yeah,
so it makes sense to do that. Yeah, that's the reason we did it.
Well, and also, I mean, from a personal perspective, I enjoy the fact that you can change deadlifts, if you know what I mean, because I usually come in with the biggest deadlift, and so I'm usually pulling for the win. So I like the fact that I can put in some disgusting number and then swap it back down before the bar's loaded. But the fact that you guys can now do that on squats and bench as well, that's cool, man. That adds a whole nother sort of mental mind game.
You're the man that's handling on the day, or your handler's got to be pretty on the game with that. Pretty
definitely.
On the ball, and the other interesting thing is we don't use temp cards anymore. It's just like a temp table. Everything's set up on a table. You just go to the table and write it on the card. So if your coach is just standing there, they can technically just watch anybody put in whatever number they put in, and they can swap it out themselves. It's swap out your own number.
GPC has that as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do that at GPC as well. It's quite funny. You see the comps in Australia. You'll see all the handlers and coaches all hovering around the table, or whispering.
Yeah, they won't notice if I change it to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's good times, man. It's those little changes can definitely make a difference how you approach the competition.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We added an extra women's class too. Yeah. So there's now 8 women and 8 men's classes.
Very nice.
Which has probably helped the women's lifting.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Yeah. Bit more. So is that at the top end or the bottom end?
So after 84, you've got 100. Or under 100, and then you've got over 100.
And then over 100. Right, fair enough. Cool. I do think that is a pretty tough weight class in the IPF as such. You know, if not to discredit them, but if it's 84 plus, it's a pretty drastic
broad.
jump.
It's a
Like
huge class,
there's some girls who will sit around 90 and they're versing someone who's 130, 140. So that's a pretty big jump. It's a pretty lot. But then what is it for weightlifting? What's the weight? Does anyone know the weight classes for that? I think that's around the same.
I think it's 100 plus.
Is it 100 plus for weightlifting as well? Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah.
I believe it's 100 plus. Yeah.
Weightlifting.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it would be 75 plus actually, and 105 plus for men.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so that's probably where it's come from.
Yeah.
It's a light heavyweight class, man.
Yeah, that's massive.
Yeah, 105 plus.
Yeah, I know. I was always in the 105 plus class when I was weightlifting.
I think we're all in the 105 plus.
Yeah, I think that makes all of us, mate. But none of us can get our hands over our heads anymore, so we're stuffed.
Oh no, not too bad. Look.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Actually, yeah, I think Joe, can you still do a backflip?
I can. Yeah. And now I'm not doing one for the video.
No, we had that last week from Hamish when he tried to stand on the chair.
Yeah.
That wasn't pretty.
Yeah, so that's mad. So backflip it at around 130 body weight.
I done gymnastics for many years when I was younger, so and trampoline was always my thing. So it just evolved to being able to. So I've been able to do backflips on the ground like from standing since I was 11 or 12. So and it just, to be fair, it's just never left me.
Yeah, you've managed to keep it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I suppose it's just that explosive power. Like I don't really come. I don't even jump high off the ground, to be fair. I'm like...
No, I've seen a video. Yeah. I've seen it, and it's,
I'm about 6 inches off the ground. It's something stupid, and I just rotate really quick. I don't know. It just sort of even blows my mind a little bit that I can still do crap like that,
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago, a British one, and there was a guy on it talking about having a background in gymnastics and how it had advantaged. It was a benefit to him, as he made his way into powerlifting. Would you say that's true in your respect as well? Do you think
to be fair, I have no idea. Like I sort of stopped gymnastics when I was 15, so to be quite honest, I'd have no idea. Like if I was still doing gymnastics right up till I was, before I started powerlifting, I'd say they probably have some sort of thing. Like I look for like Dean Price, for instance. I don't know if you know Dino. He had a background in rings and hoops and stuff in gymnastics, and I think at 15 he benched 140.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's competed and he's benched more than he's squatted a number of times, and that's raw as well. So I'd say there is some sort of background in it. Like
his, like Greg.
Yeah, his upper body development is just massive.
That doesn't sound like Greg.
Yeah. I think Dean got to the point. I think he was about 83 or 90 kilos, and he benched 196 in comp or something like that. Anyway, so
Crazy.
He's always had a massive bench on him.
Yeah.
Steve, coming back to what you were saying earlier about the rise of CrossFit and the crossover from CrossFit to powerlifting, maybe gymnastics is the next frontier.
It will be. We'll certainly take them.
Yeah.
No argument there.
So we had Joe. We had you overall male and Queenie overall female. Any other notable lifts of the day and lifters of the day?
There was another world record broken by a M3 under 84 lifter, Jolie Davis. She deadlifted 170. It was the world record standard, and
Wow.
So she set the standard, which was pretty cool too for
Nice.
a Master 3. So Master 3 is
What is that for you guys?
50 to 55. Or 54. 50 to 54, sorry.
Oh, same as GPC.
Oh, so same as GPC. So
Yeah,
50
5
to
years.
54.
5 years.
5-year increments. Yeah.
Yep. So double body weight deadlift, basically.
Yeah. Well, she came in at 76 kilos, so she was light.
So well over.
Yeah. So I made her eat up into comp, to be fair. She rang me a week out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sitting at 72.4." I'm like, "Why?" Like,
Eat up, girl.
I said, "Well, I said you should have just competed at the 72s." I said I'd be real impressed if you can make it to 78 kilos. Well, she made it to 76.3 or something. I was like, "That's pretty good in a week."
That's a decent whack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. So no, she was. But no, I just think I think everybody lifted really well. I think there was more 9 for 9s at this meet and PBs than I think I've ever seen in a powerlifting meet. To be fair,
Good
I think there
attempt
was
selection.
I think there was only one or maybe two that didn't finish the contest. Joe, would you?
Yeah, I think
Agree with
Graham from Kapiti and a young girl from Wellington, I believe. She was in the 72 class.
What was that,
Right,
injuries or just bombing?
Nah,
Oh,
she
just
just missed
bombed.
her squats. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think both of them. To be fair, I think both of them
They were
missed
squats.
Yeah.
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 So Bruce Park from Otago, he got
Oh, yeah, of course,
quite a
the
few
old
world
boy.
records.
That's right.
How was Bruce now? Because he's not a spring
Yeah, I was
chicken,
going to
is
say,
he?
I recognise that name.
83.
He was back.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been around for a while, eh?
He was older than that, Steve. I'm sure they were saying that he was 83.
Okay, I actually can't remember, to be honest, but
Yeah.
he just changed, and I think Marie, his coach, she got a deadlift.
Right. She did. Yeah, she got a world record as well.
Or twice. I think she did.
Is that Marie Soft?
Yeah.
Soph, yeah.
Soph, yeah,
Yep.
sorry. Yeah.
Yep. And myself, I got squat, bench, and total in my category.
Oh, nice.
55 to 59,
Well done,
120,
mate. Well
which
done.
is why I
There you
came down to the 120 class, because I was eyeing them up.
Yeah.
As you do. So
what did you end up with, Steve?
I got 267, 173, and 230. So 670.
Very nice.
I think the record was about 640. So
Yep.
sneaked it in. Yeah.
There you go. Sneaked it in by 30 kilos.
Well, losing weight, as Joe said before, had a big impact on me, and I think I'd squatted like 285 the week before, so it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. But hey,
how heavy were you when you were sort of training usually?
Oh, it's 10
recently?
kilos heavier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
did you take that off gradually or no?
Tried to.
Yeah.
But as we know, it doesn't work that way. So
No.
I think probably the last 5 came down the last 3 or 4 days. It's usual.
Yeah, Steve was
Bloody
running
hopeless, really.
on the horse track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and get down.
I was going to get Joe to Tommy around the Alexandra Raceway, but he wouldn't do it.
And what did you end up with, Joe, at the end of the day?
I totaled 879.
Yep.
So I went 343, 210, and 326. I missed 355 on my third. I sort of went into comp with a bit of a hammy strain. So we didn't really know how well that had taken. I guess with the 355, I sort of hit the hole and shot out. The body, the body's like, just grind it out. The brain just took over and said, no, not today, save it.
Yeah.
Just leave it for everything else. So experience, I guess, took over on the 355, and I just didn't take it. And bench, I didn't know how that was going to go. To be fair, I benched I think 208 for my last heavy session, and it was like RPE watching the bar. Like, are you going to go up?
Yeah. Are you moving?
Yeah. Are we getting this today? Or and then I hit 210. That looked like a bloody warm up.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw a bit of the lifting, and you're 210. I was like, what's he doing? Is he saving the gas? Or...
I had no idea, to be fair. It was one of those. We'll run the risk. And me and Tom talked about it, and he said, "Should we get 210? I'd be pretty happy." I'm like, "Yeah, same."
Because you opened at like 190 something, didn't you? 195.
Yeah, I went 195, 205. And 205 didn't move as fast as 210 moved.
Nah, you can't pick it,
To be fair, and it was just, I don't know, if you sort of hype yourself up a little bit more, just go out with a little bit more purpose and just, just smoked it. So, and I pulled my deadlifts back. So my last warm up was I'd done 3 warm ups in the warm up room. I think I went 170, 220, 270, and then I opened at 305. I don't do a huge amount of warm ups on deadlifts anyway.
Right. So that's a personal thing.
It's pretty. The body's already warm. Your legs are warm from squats. Your upper back and everything's warm from bench.
Yeah.
So I just limit it. I normally do about 4 anyway, but because the hammy was being a little bit of a bugger, I just said, pull my deadlift back, and then we'll just go from there. So I think I went 305. 317, I think, the second attempt. I actually don't even know what my second attempt was. Dino runs my cards. He's run me.
He just does it. Yeah, he knows where you need to be.
He's run me since day dot. And then 226 for the win. So and again,
nice.
He just pulled my headphone off my ear and just said, "This is for the win," and
go for it.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
Yeah,
no pressure.
Yeah. Dino's done that a number of times. Yeah, he's done that a number of times to me. He just rocks up, and it's just something he needs to say, and he just pulls me headphone. And that's all he says. He just goes, "This is for the win," and he just walks off.
Yeah.
I don't see him again. He just buggers off.
No,
Just him, he
that's
just
it.
says it, and then he's just out. Just let myself get into my own head and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and as soon as I pulled the bar and it left the floor, I knew I had it. It was.
Yeah, it looked very comfortable. I
Yeah.
think you probably did have 10, 15K in that.
Yeah,
So you could have, yeah.
No, I definitely wasn't losing that one, and
No.
I believe that's title number. I'm pretty sure it's number 6, but I think I look back. I think it's title number 5 for me and Dean. So Dean's run me since 2013, and I think it's number 5. So I might have to make an adjustment on my post, to be fair, and take down the photos of us holding up the 6, because he thought it was 6, but I'm not sure. I'll have to go back through the books.
Have a look. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, again, that's a big competition history. How many powerlifting meets would you say you've done over the last, 8 years?
Eight, nearly 9, starting up 9 years now, or close to 9 years of starting. I don't know. Like when I first started, I think I done 9 comps my first year. I kind of just I lifted in everything.
Yeah.
I was just hooked, so I was like, no, I got to get better. So I just lifted in everything, and then I sort of would do 4 to 5. So I don't know. I'd be 30, maybe 40 plus now. I'd say meets over those years. Like last year, I'd done 5 comps.
Yep.
Helping World Powerlift grow, and I done 5 meets. 4 of them were international. So I was that was in 10 months. I was in a permanent
peak.
Yeah, that just cooked. To be fair, it just cooked me.
It does.
Yeah,
So Joe, if you get to 80 or 90 or 95 years old, and you look back and you think, what's the highlight? What would be a highlight for you? What's the pinnacle of achievement for you? Is it some sort of what's the comp that's going to seal the deal?
Oh, to be fair, like all my new lifters and stuff I get, I tell them your first comp's got to be your most fun. You're going to love your first comp, because too many people go on a comp nowadays and they just, I don't know, they get stuck on a number, that's the number I have to hit today. And just, are we allowed to swear in this? Because I swear like a flippin'.
Go hard, go for your life.
Go ahead, mate,
I'm like, just go and fucking enjoy yourself. Like, lifting's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be, I don't know, you're not meant to be crammed up in the corner, not even fucking talking to anybody. Like, Steve will know, I'm just a smart ass. Like, I'm just being a cheeky cunt with my headphones. I'll walk past, say something, and just carry on,
Yeah.
And people look at me, and I'm like, just enjoy yourself. But for me, my first meet probably was my most fun. And then that 965, that comp, because I broke, I managed to. So I said at the time, it still is the highest drug-free total in New Zealand. That's equipped all raw. I think I added.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I added 10 kilos to the equipped total that day.
That was Derek's. Was it? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I went 8 from 9. Well, I went 8 from 8. I passed on my third bench. And to be fair, I believe I'm the only Kiwi to beat Brett Gibbs head to head in the meet.
So did you beat him on formula at that?
Yeah, I bet him on Wilkes. I bet him on Wilkes. I think I bet him by 0.4 of a Wilkes.
Perfect.
Nice. And again, Dino pulled me headphone off. It was a number I'd never pulled, and he goes, "This is to beat Brett." And I went, "Sweet, we're good to go."
Let's go. Yeah.
And pulled a very slow 350.
Yeah. So what was the breakdown for that? You squatted 383.
Yeah, 383, 232, 5, 350.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. I was going to sleep on 383.
Yeah, that was sleeves as well as an obviously if it's IPF. Yeah.
No, all
it's
sleeves,
a big squat, man.
Yeah. I was got to the top of that one, and I couldn't really see anybody, to be fair.
Yeah.
But again, Dino played the cards, and that's the number that was there on the day, and he squeezed every kilo out of me.
Yeah, 385 you would have missed.
Yeah, exactly. 385 it wasn't going, but because I already held the record, I think at 375 I set at Nationals.
Yep.
2.5 months prior, or something like that, and then adding nearly another 10 kilos to it.
Yeah.
That was the number of the day. But no, that one too, to be fair. And I really enjoy the numbers game too, and coaching and stuff. So I just enjoy the meets I'm coaching at. So I coached all day Saturday. I done 14 hours of coaching on Saturday from start to finish, and then was coaching while I was competing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah, just love it. So competing's fun and all that, but I think later on down the years I'll step aside and just coach.
We
a
got
bit more.
a 1,000 kilo total coming out of you one day.
Hopefully, definitely. Me and Tom are working towards it. Whether it's
Good.
under 120 or whether or not I sneak back into the supers for a little bit in the coming years. But I think I'm capable of it. And I think with the year 17, if I didn't drop back to 120s and I went to Worlds as a super, I cold-heartedly believe I would have hit it.
Yeah.
With the way everything was progressing and stuff. But again, I took my shot at dropping 15 kilos.
Yeah.
And cooked the goose and went nowhere.
Oh, yeah. That's someone's got to do that 1,000 at some stage, bro. I mean, took my shot, it came out well short.
Yeah, no, definitely. Maybe I'll have to chuck a pair of knee wraps on and come and guest lift
Do it.
one of your guys' meets or something.
Get amongst it.
Yeah.
Because I really like deadlift bars too. So when I owned my gym, I had to buy a deadlift bar just because I wanted one, and I had to buy a Duffalo bar just to save.
Yeah. How do you find that? How do you find the Duffalo bar?
Love it, absolutely love it. It's and Tom programs it as a preferred bar. If I want to use that, I can use a Duffalo for all my squats and stuff. So
Save the shoulders, save the elbows.
Man. Yeah, exactly. But even benching on it's just a wonderful thing.
That extra, how much would it add to your range? You reckon about an inch?
Nah, no. I think it'd be more than that, man. I reckon you'd be upwards of 2 inches at least in stroke.
Right.
So you sort of come down and your scaps and everything depresses even more, and you pull your elbows. You're like, you're skirting back, but it's a great thing. Yeah.
Where do you grip on a bench? Are you index finger on the ring?
As far as I can go, yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's why you get the extra. See, I do pinkies just inside the ring actually.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I might not get as far. Actually, I'd probably get more maybe.
You'd get more. I think your stroke would be even longer.
Yeah. Yeah, it would actually. Damn,
Yeah,
right. I'm never trying that.
Yeah. You've got zero arch too. Jackson's got zero arch, so yeah.
What? Excuse me? I'm very proud of my arch. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But it's a real good bar, and I really like it for squats and stuff. Everybody should have a go on it, I think. Like I've got a lifter with a bit of a bung shoulder at the moment, so she just squats on that and she loves it. So
yeah. Where did you get yours from? I've been wanting to get one actually because I'm stuck with the safety bar.
I paid all the money and got it from Chris Duffin.
Right. Okay. It looks like it's going to be the way.
Yeah. So it's the real McCoy. It's the Kabuki strength.
Yeah.
Just the engineering involved in it. So like it's actually shaped. So you got your curve, but then the sleeves actually go up.
Sleeves go straight out. Yeah.
No. They go up on an angle.
Oh.
So as the weight comes on, the curve becomes greater because it flattens itself out.
Right. And it comes down. So they've thought about it. They've thought about the width.
Yeah. The engineering in it is just phenomenal. And I think it's 32 mil and 25 kilos.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it's real comfy on the back, and the center knurling almost covers my whole back. So it's just got a huge strap of knurling on it.
You have to come and do a comp at some stage, bro. I've got my Goliath squat bar.
Yeah.
It's 35 mil.
Yeah.
And
they 35?
It's 35, the Goliath, and the knurling is all the way across.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
There's no smooth. There's rings, so you can still judge where you're at, but there's no smooth.
Just all nil.
All nil.
How heavy are they? 30 kilos or 25?
They do a 25, a 27, and a 30.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a 25, but I don't know if you see like Eric Lillybridge's videos, but he's got a 27 and a half. Yeah. So he puts the 1.25s on first.
Yeah, I
so
have seen 30. That.
Yeah, that's why he does that.
Okay, I was wondering. No, I've heard the squat bars are just real nice to squat on.
Very nice, bro. There's honestly, the Goliath. I mean, we've had 420 on it, and there's no whip. None at all.
They just don't move, eh?
Doesn't move.
Definitely. I'll run that past Wilksy and see if he can take me.
There you go. See if you can swindle it.
Yeah, I think if it's just a club meet or something a bit fun, I don't think there'd be too much of an issue.
Very nice.
Chuck some knee reps on and see what the hell happens.
Yeah, mate. I honestly, I mean, if you can get back to those late threes without chuck some reps and a squat bar at you,
that should be a bit of fun, all right. Yeah, well, I got 40 kilos out of 2 meter reps. I don't know what I get out of 2.5.
2.5s, bro. You get
80 kilos.
The knee reps have come a long way since then as well.
Mm.
But as Raw's taken off, I prefer the slingshots, the red ones.
Yeah.
But most people these days are using the Pioneer, the Lilley bridges, the red and black ones, which you'd probably quite like because you hit the hole relatively and bounce out quite quickly.
Yeah.
So they're a bit more elastic. So
Cool.
yeah, no, good times.
Sounds like we'll have to bloody get that one sorted.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Steve, come chuck some knee reps on and squat 300 kilos.
Yeah, go on, Steve. Get amongst.
I've got my gold medal Titans there somewhere.
Oh, there we go. We're sorted.
There you go.
All right, guys. I'm just conscious of the time, but I just wanted to finish off with either you, Steve, or you, Joe. Just a question around, the powerlifting scene in New Zealand, and I realised, all of us got a bit of history with the different feds and so forth. But, just from your point of view, like what would you like to see? There's 4 federations in the country right now. What would you like to see? Unity, or the 4 feds doing a good enough job, or what needs to happen?
Personally, I believe there's a opportunity for some sort of collaboration. We don't have a no other federation rule. If Joe wants to go have a go and test the GP like you talked about, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we do, WPNZ is drug tested, so people just have to be aware that when they compete in ours, they still, will face that. And there was doping at the drug testing at the nationals. To be when he was there. But yeah, I mean, as you know, Jackson, I've refereed at the Open.
Yeah, you did the Open last year.
Last year
down at Horncastle.
So I just into powerlifting, and I just want to support anyone that's doing it. Really, I don't really play favourites, to be honest.
Nah.
And that's a lot of our guys in Canterbury are the same. It's the community they're wanting to support, not a federation as such.
Yeah, Colin runs it down here. Yeah, Colin's a great guy.
Exactly. Yeah, he's just runs contests and he says anyone come along and lift.
Yeah, I mean he helped us out with a couple of meets with equipment and etc. And I've known Colin since I pretty much started powerlifting because he was at Eastside and CSPC, and yeah, great guy, just loves lifting. Lifting really.
Yeah. So that's
awesome.
that's my belief.
Awesome. And
I'd definitely be down the same line as Steve. Really, I'm all about the meat and having fun with my lifting family and everything else. So it'll be nice to lift and compete alongside everybody else. To be fair, and again, that in turn that'll grow the sport. And if people are just getting into powerlifting, well, shit, we kind of can't complain. Yeah, no, it'll be cool to see, to have those inter-federation meets and stuff. They don't have to be classed as a, some special meet or anything like that. But just go and lift and have some fun and just shift some weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just see some big squats, big benches,
Yeah,
big
exactly,
deadlifts.
man.
Yeah.
Deadlifts and everyone having a good time.
Exactly.
Like I think we're all in agreement about. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys.
All right.
We'll close it off here. I want to thank you both for coming on. It's been awesome. It's been a really good chat. We've been through it. We got through an hour and a half, so I'm sure we can probably keep on going. Powerlifting,
Yeah.
We'll about it forever.
But
exactly.
love to get you guys on again at some stage. But once again, thanks very much.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Good.
No, thanks lads, and
Beauty.
well done on the meet on the weekend. It was great.
No worries. Awesome. Cheers.